So what I'm about to talk about here is something that is really niche and very granular if you are, a basketball fan. And it's about a rotation player and two teams that are connected to this player. But the Oklahoma City Thunder have found a steal in signing Isaiah Joe before the season started. And Isaiah Joe is a player that, one, it seemed like a lot of people who follow the draft, who study the draft, who rank prospects and all of that, they were really big fans of Isaiah Joe. Just somebody who is 6'4", 6'5", but more importantly, just bombs away from three, really deep range. Someone who, in his sophomore season at Arkansas, shot 10 threes per game on 38% shooting, and just somebody who you knew would project into a role right away in the NBA if given the opportunity to play to his skill set. Just somebody who is big, long, he is on the skinnier side, but somebody that can just stretch the floor and be kind of a oil to the offense because his range is so far out and defenses have to play to that. And Isaiah Joe got drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers in the second round in the 2020 NBA draft. And it was just a good find by Daryl Morey, but of course, because Doc Rivers doesn't know how to coach and doesn't like young players and doesn't know how to properly use young players and use them to their skill set, unfortunately, Isaiah Joe got cut before the season started, even though a lot of Sixer fans and college basketball fans saw a good role player in Isaiah Joe. And the Thunder saw that, and they pounced on it immediately. And I'll get to the Doc Rivers portion, more of it later, but let's talk about Isaiah Joe's year with the Thunder, because I want to get this off my chest because it really does bug me that something so obvious, so plain in sight, like Isaiah Joe projecting to be a role player if you just let him bomb away from three and not play him as a fucking backup point guard, you could see that he was going to carve out a role in the NBA. Somebody who is also, by the way, a very solid defender, knows how to make rotations. Yeah, he's going to get bullied and moved around because, he weighs 180 pounds, but he's somebody who is also really good at digging in on help on the driver. If somebody drives on his teammate, he's very good at digging into the key and sticking his hand in there and prying a few steals loose, as Thunder fans know very well. And unfortunately, the Sixers waived him before the season started, and the Thunder scooped him right up and thought, hey, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, we have Josh Giddey, Jalen Williams is really good already as a rookie, and we have the preeminent driving kick team in the NBA. Let's drive and kick to a guy who is a movement shooter, somebody who's a deep shooter, and somebody who can also attack a closeout. And Isaiah Joe is having his best year so far in his third year. He's actually being guaranteed consistent minutes. He's only playing 16 minutes a night, but at least he knows he's going to get those 16 minutes and he can make the most of his role. The problem was in Philly was that, one, Doc Rivers tried to play Isaiah Joe as a fucking backup point guard, which was stupid. And two, if Isaiah Joe made mistakes, like with all young players, most young players under Doc Rivers, they would get yanked and never play again or not play for a long stretch of time. And of course, if you don't know when you're going to get minutes, you're going to have, less of an opportunity to showcase your skill. Then you start pressing, which I'm sure is what Isaiah Joe experienced. And he just wasn't guaranteed a consistent spot in the rotation. And not only that, they used him incorrectly. The Thunder know exactly what they're doing with Isaiah Joe. Isaiah Joe is taking nearly 5 threes a game, and he's shooting 45.8% from three. He's averaging over 8 points per game. He actually has shown more of his driving chops, attacking closeouts, and he's a very simple connective passer. He's not going to make the crazy, insane passes, but he's a smart basketball player. And like I mentioned earlier, he's an underrated defender from the standpoint of he'll know when to hit his rotations. He's very good at helping out his teammates. and he's pried a few steals loose. He's very solid on that end of the floor. And boy, would the Sixers really love to use somebody who is a 3-and-D wing that can bomb away from three. I wonder where they can find that. Oh yeah, Daryl Morey did a good job drafting him, and then of course in turn, Doc Rivers just did not know how to use him, used him incorrectly, and because he hates young guys, like I mentioned, they get inconsistent minutes. If they fuck up, they are not going to play for like 10 straight games, and then they'll throw him in cold and expect him to perform, which is just ridiculous. I'm always of the belief of, if you want young players to develop, one, you play them to their skill set first, and then you build out from there. But two, you have to get real in-game reps. You can't just practice a lot. You can only play Summer League so much, which, by the way, Isaiah Joe kept showing improvement with every Summer League that he played with Philadelphia. I just don't get this team sometimes, man. I don't get Doc Rivers. Like, he's a terrible coach, and this is kind of me just ranting because I had to get this off my chest, but Thunder fans, you have a really good role player in Isaiah Joe, somebody who fits really good off of your franchise cornerstones, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, obviously, and Josh Giddey. Hell, Chet Holmgren also, can't forget about him, even though he's out for the year. That's another franchise cornerstone. Isaiah Joe is just somebody you can plug and play into any team, somebody who is going to just chuck threes and bomb away from deep, give your stars spacing to drive and kick, and Isaiah Joe's excelling right now. Every time I watch the Thunder and every time I see Isaiah Joe produce in the minutes he is given, I just get retroactively pissed off at Doc Rivers because we all saw this coming. We all saw that he was using him incorrectly, which then in turn would lead to Isaiah Joe not getting minutes, which then in turn would lead to the Sixers cutting him in favor of a veteran, which was also weird because the Sixers had an open roster spot open forever. And now it just looks like another mistake along the long line of mistakes the Sixers have made with young players. And the long line of mistakes made by the head coach himself. But Thunder fans, another man's mistake is another man's treasure. And the Thunder signed Isaiah Joe to a 3-year contract with a club option for the 2024-25 season. And you know what? It's a damn good bargain. They are getting great value in signing Isaiah Joe.